Hello, welcome back to the Happiness Games for Romantic Relationships. I'm Zhao Martins, licensed marriage and family therapist, couples therapist. Happy Chinese New Year! I'm always wearing this on Chinese New Year every year. It's a one-day costume for the year. This is the fire horse, the year of the fire horse. I already feel the momentum and energy of the fire horse. Are you? Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Chinese concept of superficial harmony. That's coming with the year of the fire horse. And also compare that with the Western concept that we use in couple therapy a lot called conflict avoidance. Are those two the same? Is there any similarity, any differences? Does it show up in your romantic relationships? First, I want to tell you a story. So I went to my Chinese massage therapist for Chinese New Year, and she told me about her and her husband's negotiations on cooking. So she works a lot. So her husband makes food, and I asked her, how do you like his cooking? She says, well, it's okay. And my major complaint is it's too salty. And then she told me that she complained to her husband many times about the food being too salty. And he does not like that comment, and he doesn't want to change. So she came up with this idea. She will bring some napa cabbage leaves with her when she bring his cooking to work. And then she will tear apart the leaves and put it in with the meat stew that's too salty and microwave it to tone it down. So it works for her. And I was thinking about that, is that what we call maintaining the superficial harmony in relationships? Like Chinese culture love to maintain superficial harmony. And there's some criticism about that culture value. So what is a superficial harmony? It means that you are kind of maintaining the facade of peace and agreement, politeness from the outside and the respect, but internally, either in a person system as yourself, or between the relationship, what we call interpersonal relationship, there is a lot of disagreement and conflict that's not being addressed, being repressed, with tension, either physical tension or relationship tension. So do you think this example I gave it to you, the story, my massage therapist, she's trying to maintain the superficial harmony? I will answer that question at the end of our episode today. I wanted to introduce the concept called conflict avoidance. In couples therapy, we tend to categorize different couples. There's hostile dependent couple that fights all the time externally and blame each other, and they cannot stop fighting, but they cannot leave each other either. And there's the conflict avoidant couple where they don't talk about their differences and they throw their differences under the rug, and they appear to be happy and okay. They're the model couple in the community. They always appear to be very nice with each other and very courteous and respectful. They never really get into argument. But after 20, 30 years later, they can have an explosion of their conflict get escalated. Sometimes they come to couple therapy, it's already too late, and then they end up splitting. So conflict avoidance means there are some really uncomfortable emotions and conflicts, that feelings that you're trying to stay away from, so you don't address the differences underneath all those emotions. Well, it makes total sense to me. I know it has a bad rap among couple therapists that, they're conflict avoidant, they're very difficult to work with. I see if we can acknowledge, understand where people are coming from, that will really help all of us to be aligned in working together. So I try to understand what is the root of conflict avoidance, and what are those uncomfortable emotions? So emotion for me is emotion. E stands for energy, motion, movement. So emotion literally is energy in our body that's moving, give us a signal that we're alive. For example, sadness is a heavier grounding emotion, slow, dragging you down to your feet. Anger is an uprising, expansive emotion. When you feel a lot of force and heat in your body, you want to do something about it. They're signaling, yes, we have energy and it's alive, is moving, is in motion. We're not stagnant, which is a great thing. Well, some of those can feel uncomfortable for people if you are not familiar with the emotions and how it manifests in your body. Some of the sensations can feel very strange and you don't like it. For example, heart palpitation, shallow breathing, trembling, and energy going through your body with vibrations in the area that you're not familiar with. Those all can be scary, anxiety provoking. Literally what I'm naming, some of them are the symptoms or signs of anxiety. Some of them are anger or frustration. They are just a signal that energy is moving from one part of the body where there's low energy to the other, high energy, to the other part of the body that's low energy, which is very normal if you think about it. Energy doesn't disappear. Energy transforms, energy moves in our body as well. So, but when we are not comfortable with them, those are strange and new sensations to us, we do not like it. So we tend to run away from that. We avoid that, saying, no, I don't want to feel that way. It doesn't feel good. So for the longest time, I was really trying to avoid grief because I don't like the sensation of grief. It's like dragging you down, you cry a lot. It's very not convenient when you're in the middle of work or childcare, right, in your roles. So I form tension in my body to block it. I don't feel it. But guess what? It will come out at some point, even with stronger forces and even more inconvenient. So I learned to observe and understand and give it time for it to run through my body. Then it's all good. I can continue with my life. So when people, all of us, when we do not like certain sensations of our body, when the energy flows, which is emotions, we avoid them. And that's why a lot of times people don't want to be in conflicts, because some of the sensations of emotions get evoked in them during conflict. It's not comfortable. For certain people, they tend to go into heart palpitation, rush flushes in the face, arising of the heat, vibrations in the limbs, in the body parts that they don't like. Sometimes they're very similar to what we call the sympathetic nervous system responses, the fighting or flying responses, which can be uncomfortable. And the other type of people are afraid of conflicts because it leads to withdrawal and shut down, which is dorsal. According to polyvagal theory, which is your energy go really low, you close your boundary, you don't feel vitality, vibrations, you don't feel the connection, energy exchange between you and other people. So you're isolated. So if you think about a child express their opinions, disagreeing with their parents, and they get shut down, saying, no, you're wrong, you can't think like that. You cannot behave that way. That's wrong. And then they have a rejection. So they feel the energetic disconnection from their parents leads to dorsal state. And that's very uncomfortable and scary for them. So that's why there are people, I'm talking about the people pleasers out here, don't want to express their opinions and their values so they don't get the rejected. They don't get disconnection. Or those who afraid their opinions and feelings and values are not valid when they had early experiences when their parents are arguing with them, putting them down, and they fight back. I'm thinking about teenagers that they say, well, I have to fight and prove I'm right, you're wrong in order to be okay. We cannot coexist with different values and opinions. It's also a developmental stage. So I hope you get a better understanding why people are conflict avoidance. They're actually avoiding those unfamiliar sensations in the body when we have emotions. So now let's go back and look at my story. Do you think my massage therapist is conflict avoidant or trying to maintain the superficial harmony? I actually don't. She voiced her opinion and her value. She told her husband that this is too salty for me. But her husband has a hard time to be receptive, open up his boundary to hear what she's saying, that, I like that you're cooking for me. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully she said that. But this is too salty for your taste. Maybe they can figure out a way of solving the problem down the road, but his boundary shut in that moment, so he's not receptive. So then my massage therapist, she's getting in touch with her inner authority. She's saying, you know what? I decided my work schedule is tight and I do not want to cook myself, that I'm receptive receiving this love and service from my husband to cook for me, and I pack my lunch and I'm going to solve the problem myself. I can adapt. I will make something, mix with it to make it less salty so it works for me. I think that's a very courageous, and she's very flexible and adaptable. And this is a couple that's been married for a long time, and they've been working on their roadblocks, and they're coming up with solutions, they're communicating. So, well, I really think harmony is very important. There's a saying in Chinese called 家和万事兴, which means if there's a harmony in the family, in the household, everything will thrive and will bloom and be abundant. Why? It makes sense according to a system-oriented way of thinking. If everyone's energy in the family are not wasted on fighting, they can be used and directed into certain tasks, certain goals they have, and work towards the goal together. Collaboratively, you're not losing any energy, so that's a good thing. But can you jump from being two new people in this family or system or couple to everything moves great? I don't think so. There is a process called integration of differences. Again, it can be called differentiation state of development of the couple relationship system. You cannot bypass it. You have to go through it. You work together, you grow together, and you build this relationship that can do tasks together harmoniously. So it's not superficial anymore. I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know what you think about the superficial harmony. Do you have that in your relationship? Maybe some part of us all like to maintain that, so we feel comfortable sometimes when we have challenges in other parts of our lives. So that's normal, but bypassing it is not going to lead to real, true connection and intimacy. I'll see you next week, my friends.